For cheap GTA shark cards and other games, check out g2a.com, there's a link in the description, and of course use my discount code AZUO for an extra discount. Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another GTA 5 video here on my channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the 4 different versions and variants of the Fist of Comet that we have in GTA Online, of course with the release of the 4th version today in GTA Online, the new Fist of Comet SR. So we're going to be taking a look at all 4 variants, of course comparing their similarities and differences. But before we jump into things, I want you guys right now to leave a comment on this video and let me know which one of the 4 Fist of Comets is your favourite. Is it the regular version, the Comet Retro Custom, the Comet Safari, or the new Comet SR? So go ahead and leave a comment right now. But jumping straight into things then, let's start things off with their price. So, the original Fist of Comet, of course, has been in-game ever since it was first launched back in September of 2013. It is one of the original sports cars and costs just $100,000. You can buy this from the Legendary Motorsports website. In fact, it is the cheapest here and one of the cheapest sports cars that you can get in-game as well. But then, 3 years on, Rockstar then introduced this second model into the game, the Comet Retro Custom. That's of course being a Benny's Original Motorworks vehicle, and if you want to get this, you have to purchase the original version for $100,000, and then take it down to Benny's Original Motorworks, and then upgrade it to the Comet Retro Custom. So it's $100,000 to buy the standard version, and then $645,000 to upgrade it. So its total cost is $745,000. Then, the third model was added more recently in the Doomsday Heist update back in December 2017, this of course being the Comet Safari. It is basically a taller off-road version of the Comet Retro Custom, but you can buy this from the Legendary Motorsports website for $710,000. And then of course, the 4th variant, the new Comet SR, added today, the final vehicle from the Doomsday Heist update. You can purchase this from the Legendary Motorsports website for $1,145,000. So it is the most expensive Comet that you can buy in GTA Online, and it's basically just a newer facelift version of the original Comet. Anyway, but next, let's move on to comparing the customization available for these 4 vehicles. I'm going to start things off with the original Fist of Comet. Now it's worth noting with this being the oldest and one of the original GTA 5 cars, this car has the least amount of customization options available for it out of these 4 vehicles. And that's because when GTA 5 was first launched, there was less focus on customization than what there is today with the newer updates. But even so, there are still a few things you can do to this car. You can change out the front bumper, fitting a splitter and canards. You can change out the rear spoiler. You can fit a roll cage with chassis upgrades. You can change out the exhausts and 1 or 2 other things as well. But then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, we have the Comet Retro Custom. This is the most customizable car out of these 4, but of course get this, you have to purchase the standard version for $100,000, then take it down to Benny's Original Motorworks, then upgrade it to the Comet Retro Custom, which will cost you $645,000. But from there, you've then unlocked a range of different customizations. Pretty much everything on this car is customizable from this point forward. You can do things such as changing out the front bumper with loads of different options in that category. The same with the rear diffuser, the hood, the fenders, the roof, all of the interior, the spoilers, the exhausts, and much, much more. This car is extremely customizable at Benny's Original Motorworks, and in fairness, once fully upgraded, looks awesome. Moving on then to the 3rd variant, the Fist of Comet Safari. This is basically the Comet Retro Custom with a few upgrades already fitted to it from standard. So as you guys can see, it is already lifted from standard. It has front lights, it has a different front bumper, a different rear bumper, and 1 or 2 other things as well. But when it comes to customization, this thing also has a lot of things available for it that you can apply at the regular custom shop. And again, just like the Comet Retro Custom, nearly every panel on this vehicle is upgradable. The front bumper, the hood, the fenders, the sills, the rear bumper, the spoiler, the roof, the lights, and so on. This car is the second most customizable Comet that we have available in-game, and if you want to, you can also make this a weaponized vehicle too if you own an Avenger or Mobile Operations Center. Simply drive this inside, and there'll be the option to fit weapons to this as well. But then as for the fourth variant, the new Fister Comet SR. Now unfortunately in the terms of customizations, it is a little disappointing, especially seeing this is one of the newest cars that we've had in GTA Online. There aren't many customization options or upgrades available for this whatsoever. It is very similar to the original Fister Comet. There are one or two more things you can do to this, but most of the upgrades simply allow you to change some of the carbon panels on the vehicle to either the primary or secondary color. From standard, when you first buy this car, it is fitted with a lot of carbon panels, things such as the front bumper, the sills, the intakes, the rear bumper. All of these are carbon, but you can change these out either for the primary or secondary color if you want to. But in the terms of actually changing the shape and the style of this, there aren't many options which really allow you to apply or change it all that much, with very limited options and not much choice, unlike the previous two cars we've just taken a look at. Anyway, but next, let's discuss their performance. And once again, we're going to start things off with the original Fister Comet. Now, it's always been a very mid-range car in the sports category. It's never been really up there in the top 5, but it's never really been that low. I think even right now, with all the new sports cars we've had over the past few years, it's still very mid-range in the terms of its speed, its performance, its handling, and its ability around the track. So in fairness, it's not too bad, especially for its price, $100,000. And I have said this before in a video about 2 years ago, and I feel like it still applies now. The Fister Comet is definitely one of the best and most underrated vehicles that we have in GTA Online for its price. It is definitely very good value for money, and as you guys can see as I drive around, although it's not the fastest car that we have or the best cornering, it's still pretty good. And although mid-range may not sound that special or that impressive, for $100,000 it really is. And comparing this to the Comet Retro Custom, well, the Comet Retro Custom is maybe a little disappointing. Now, as cool and as sporting and as track-like as this may seem, to buy and fully customize it will cost you over $1.2 to $1.3 million, whereas to do the exact same thing with the standard Comet is maybe $350,000, which means this is 4 times more expensive than it, but unfortunately in track situations isn't quite as good. In fact, it's slower around the track, it's not as quite as easy to control, its handling and cornering abilities isn't as good, braking isn't quite as good either, and although it's faster in a straight line, its acceleration isn't quite as good either. So performance-wise, certainly in track situations, it isn't quite as good as the standard Comets, which in a way is kind of understandable seeing that this is a much older and retro version, but let's be honest, the Comet Retro Custom is a much better looking vehicle, especially when fully customized. Now, as I'm sure you guys could have guessed without even trying it for yourselves, the Comet Safari is possibly the worst here in the terms of its performance, especially in track situations, and that's because this is more of an off-road car than something which goes around the track as quickly as possible. Now, in fairness, it's not too bad. In fact, driving around it feels quite nice, and this car is all-wheel drive as well, which means in the corners it has a lot of grip. It also feels quite quick, especially when accelerating off the line or through corners, but it might just be down to the fact that it's so tall. But either way, out of these 4, it is the worst one to use in race and track situations for obvious reasons. But then finally, as for the new Comet SR, and again, as I'm sure you guys could have guessed, with it being the newest here, its cornering and handling is very, very good. By far the best out of these 4. In fact, I haven't tested this out just yet, but I'm pretty sure this will be one of the best in the terms of racing and track cars in the sports category, going up against some of the best in the top 5, like the Elegy and the Pariah. Anyway, moving on though to the final comparison of today's video, the top speed and the drag race times of these 4 vehicles. As always, we're going to be doing the usual drag race, running the length of the runway down at the airport, and starting things off with a fully customized Fister Comet. This car's top speed is the lowest out of the 4, not by a huge amount, but its top speed is 119 miles an hour. Now in this drag race, it only hits 109 miles an hour. By the time it gets to 100, the time between going from 100 to 109 was about half the runway, so you need a lot of distance to actually hit that top speed, but it completes this drag race in 24.17 seconds. Anyway, but up next we have the Comet Retro Custom. Now this car has a slightly higher top speed, 121 miles an hour in comparison to the 119 of the regular Fister Comet. But very weirdly, it also hits the same top speed during this drag race, 109 miles an hour. And just like the standard Comet, it gets to 100 miles an hour pretty quickly, roughly halfway or so into the drag race, but then takes the rest of the drag race to then get to 109 miles an hour, and as a result achieves the exact same time of 24.17 seconds. Moving on though to the third car, up next we have the Fisker Comet Safari. Now, this car has a very similar top speed, 120 miles an hour, but in this drag race only hits 105 miles an hour, and it's the slowest here with a time of 25.04 seconds. But again, this is kind of expected with this being more fitting and more suited to off-road territory as opposed to drag racing and track territory. Moving on though to the fourth and final vehicle then in this comparison, the new Fisker Comet SR. Now with this being the newest, you'd expect this to be the fastest in this drag race, and I believe it has a top speed of 126 miles an hour, but like the original Comets and the Comet Retro Custom, only gets to 109 miles an hour, and just like those, has the exact same problem. It gets to 100 miles an hour pretty quickly, but struggles to accelerate beyond that point to its top speed. But the time it pulls in is 24.17 seconds, the exact same time to the millisecond to the Comet and the Comet Retro Custom, which at first I did not believe. I had to go back into the game and test this all over again because there's no way that three of these cars can have the exact same speed to the millisecond doing this drag race. But no. These three cars, the Comet Retro Custom, and the Comet SR, have the exact same acceleration and speed rate doing this drag race, which just doesn't make any sense, but there we go, that was the result. So then, a quick overview on these four vehicles. The original Fisker Comet is the cheapest here at $100,000. The Fisker Comet Retro Custom is the most customizable. The Comet Safari is the only weaponized and off-road version here, and the Comet SR has the best handling. But ultimately these cars are very similar, and if I had to recommend which one you should buy, it comes down to what you want the car for. If you haven't got a huge amount of money in game and you want one, well the cheapest and the best value for money at just $100,000 is of course the original Fisker Comet. If you want the most customizable car here, the best looking one in my opinion, it is definitely going to be the Comet Retro Custom. If you want a car that's weaponized and can go off-road and is an all-round good car, then of course it's going to be the Comet Safari. And if you want the best track car, well the Comet SR is the best choice to make. So there we go then guys, that's pretty much it then for this video. Very unexpected results, but I of course want to get your thoughts and feelings on all of this. Like I said, let me know right now in the comment section which one out of these four is your favourite. If you guys could also drop a like, it would of course be greatly appreciated and it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.